How to solve a problem. I'll give you the recipe at the end of this video, and I'm gonna work on giving you the few steps that you need to work to solve problems. Big and small, doesn't matter. Got an idea the other day listening to Patrick Groves when he was giving his talk for Mind Valley, and that got me thinking how he was journaling and how he was asking big questions. And we work a lot with big questions when we work together, and the big questions that we ask often have big answers. And I was wondering how to go about those kind of things. When I was listening to my audiobook in my car, Tom Hopkins has a book out, and it's The Official Guide to Success. And chapter 31, he talks about solving big problem with the help of your subconscious. And he has a few steps to do that. So I got inspired by that. So today I'm going to teach you how to do those kind of things. So when you have a big problem, you have to define it. So defining your problem and what is the actual problem. Sometimes you have a situation and you have to define that situation to help solve that situation. So when people do define those situations, it's easier to actually go out in the world after that to actually solve problems. So when you have that kind of question, Patrick Grove in the talk was talking about, how he could make money, how he's an entrepreneur, so how can he start businesses, how can he do those kind of things. So he's talking and asking questions about big goals. You can do that also. You can use that when you define what you want to do. It's easier to go and get the information after. Step 2. What would be the solution? When you have a problem and it's well defined, you have to find what would be a solution that is adequate for you. Of course, don't get stuck into one solution, because sometimes you can have more than one solution and you have to work on those kind of things, finding different solutions. So you have to be in that state of infinite possibility, finding different solutions. Sometimes it's very important. And when you do those kind of 2 steps, so define your problem, find a solution that would be adequate for you, how would it looks, how would it feel, those kind of things. And after that, that's the part that is sometimes harder to do, is the waiting. So when you do those kind of defining and finding a solution and you know what it looks like, sometimes you don't know the how to in between those two. So after that, you have to go into the world and just continue your regular life. And often the problem will come to you. A little bit like when you have your subconscious that will work for you, your conscious mind, and life events. You have your what we call a reticular activation. So you have your mind working for you, and all of a sudden, your neurons will start connecting dots, connecting also information that you never saw before. Like when you're trying to buy a new car and you want a blue Honda Civic. You're going on the highway and all of a sudden you see all the blue cars, all the blue Honda Civic. So it's a little bit like that. When you define your problems and you actually define a little bit the solution, what you would like to come out of that, those kind of things, then it's easier to actually get to that. So sometimes you'll find a book that will answer your question. Sometimes you'll talk to someone and dots will connect. And it's fantastic to see how those kind of things work. So often it takes 3 days to a week. Define your problem and give it time to actually do something in your life. And sometimes we're pushing too much for a solution. Let it settle a little bit, and you may have one answer, two answer, three answer. Don't jump on it. Sometimes we jump on the first answer that we get. That's not what you want. You want to get a few answers, and after that, take a step back, choose what fits well. Because sometimes you define your solution, and after a while, thinking about it, thinking about the problem, the solution that you got wasn't necessarily the best one for that problem. So your thinking will evolve with those kind of things. After a while, if you don't get any answer, so after a week you had defined your problems, you had defined your solution, go back to what did you actually want. Redefine your problem. Sometimes it's like maybe it's a solution that you're searching, but it's not the same as the definition of your problem. So go back to that. Make sure that it's clear what you're looking for. Sometimes we're looking for more than one thing. Then you have to scale it back and search for one thing, at least. So your conscious mind and unconscious mind can actually focus on something. If it's more than one thing, two things, three things that you're looking for, do it step by step. And, of course, you can do this for small problems, you can do this for big problems. And if you have the motivation to actually have the answer, that's very important. If it's, it's a problem, but you don't necessarily want the answer, it's like you won't activate the part of your brains that actually want the answer. So make sure also that you have time to actually get that answer. Sometimes we're busy. So make that into your schedule. Take the time to actually, like Patrick Grove was saying in his talk, he was sitting in a cafe, taking the time to actually ask the question, define what you want, and looking for answers. It's like start thinking. We can work on positive questioning another time. I'll do a video on that. Tom Hopkins, fantastic book if you want to read it. And I would encourage you to go and have the audiobook. It's like very interesting to listen to. And of course, Mind Valley, if you want to go into their stuff. They have master classes and also the actual talk that I will put a link in. You can listen to it. Very interesting stuff. Have a nice day.